Welcome to the world's first multilingual youth talk show, Hey the World! And this is the third season. In this season, we brought together the young pioneers in the implementation of the Global Development Initiative, the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, and gathered together the youth leaders from the first batch of 100 excellent actions of the Action Plan for Global Youth Development to focus on global development issues and contribute youth innovative solutions. And now, let us feel the wisdom and power of the global youth in building a community with a shared future for mankind.
Around the globe, eradicating poverty has always been our most important goal. According to the United Nations, there are still 780 million people worldwide live in extreme poverty. Therefore, in pursuit of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, it is imperative that we collaborate to foster worldwide sustainable development and strive to eliminate this figure entirely. However, hope remains alive. The rapid advancement of digital technologies has expanded our possibilities. Technologies like artificial intelligence, big data, and machine learning have paved a fresh avenue for us to eradicate poverty. This technological progress has equipped us with preconceived solutions to address the issue of poverty. Today, we are honored to invite Intan Melida Lazuardini, a social worker from Indonesia. In her hometown, under her visionary leadership, the living conditions of over 30,000 rural residents have undergone a remarkable transformation. Her tireless dedication and unwavering perseverance have led to this remarkable achievement. The Collective Impact Program Impact Award by the World Federation of the United Nations Associations in 2021. Let's embark on a journey into the realm of Intan Melida Lazuardini and discover her captivating tale of unwavering passion and commitment.
Ladies and gentlemen, greetings. Here's a fact today. Small towns have limited prospects, with most industries concentrated in the city. And this is not unique to Indonesia, it is also prevalent in other countries. And I'm Intan Maulida Lazuardini from Purbalingga, a small town in Central Java, Indonesia. In my hometown, it takes a very long way for people to get into the capital city, to Jakarta. Despite how far it is, young people still take about 9 to 10 hours by bus to reach there. They yearn for employment, eagerly anticipating opportunities. On the surface, everything seems to be better. Cities grow fast. However, as a youth who grew up in small town, I witnessed a challenging situation as its consequence. Due to the migration of young people to cities, our region is left with an aging population and it's hindering the economic growth. Even worse, you may not imagine that the entire place relied on only one local Wi-Fi provider, which was highly unstable. Big cities stride forward while small towns fall behind. And this is the fact. I strive to change it. When I desperately tried to look for a breakthrough, I surprisingly realized that the key lies in the youth themselves. So currently, most young people use their social media to share their daily life. However, they seldomly know how to use the social media to make money. And at the same time, just like in other parts of the world, e-commerce is also flourishing in Indonesia. And under this circumstance, many sellers often struggle to market their products, to manage their orders, to organize their data, and also to handle the delivery of their packages because they lack the knowledge of how to keep up with the e-commerce development. So this is where the tech-savvy young people from rural area can make difference. So why don't we bring together the youth from the rural areas? So why don't we give them skills training? So to utilize information technology to seize more opportunities? Absolutely yes, we can do that. And we also found that in rural areas, local businesses coexist alongside. With appropriate trainings, these tech-savvy young individuals can excel in real-time customer service, in order management, in complaint handling, and also after-sales service. Furthermore, they can engage in live streaming sales, advertise on Facebook, on Google, and also to conduct market research on youth online shopping trends. And through this, our services will be able to encompass various fields, including electronic technologies, fashion, food, cosmetics, and more, and creating win-win solution. Hence, inspiration struck in my mind. We can build a platform for young people to showcase their skills and talents. So by the exploration of the youth's untapped potential in e-commerce, that we founded our projects dedicating to better lives of Indonesian rural communities. However, while the vision is promising, the reality is incredibly challenging. Achieving this goal will be an uphill battle. Our initial hurdle was the time itself. Based on our calculation, simply for updating and optimizing the local Wi-Fi infrastructure takes 3 years or more. Plus, recruiting members is another significant issue, especially in the very early stage of the project, as there was no evidence to prove to the youth that they can earn money. All of this seems as difficult as climbing up to heaven, but we'll just have to do it. As the impact and partnerships manager myself, I constantly remind myself that I come from a rural background and I have the responsibility to end poverty in all its forms. Fortunately, after the rain comes fair weather. More and more young people gradually recognizing the value and the sustainability of the project. Over the past 6 years, since the project's inception in 2017, we have trained over 1,300 young individuals, and among them, 500 young people actively work for small enterprises, and over 1,300 alumni have been successful, becoming successful entrepreneurs. The exponential impact is truly remarkable, and we have brought about tremendous changes in our hometown. And for now, every month, we have been able to distribute salary to our members for around 70,000 US dollar. And through remote cooperation with businesses, we enable young people to stay in their hometowns and thrive as entrepreneurs. Thanks to the great support from the stakeholders, we now have incredibly 12 authorized centers, our empowerment centers, and improved our network infrastructure for the entire place. So youth employment combined with national development. Thankfully, Purbalingga now is connected to the world. I heard that now in China, the e-commerce platforms are doing even better. On the live stream, there are youth together with the elderly who energetically introducing local products from their hometowns or food from their villages, just like the case in Purbalingga. I believe that empowered by high-tech, world youth can enable more remote areas far from the economic centers to get better development. Looking ahead, our vision extends beyond the local as we strive to establish a global collaborative network and forge partnerships with organizations around the world. And these organizations share our unwavering missions of not only providing equal opportunities, but also empowering rural youth in every corner of the world. We envision a future where every youth, regardless of their backgrounds or geographical location, has the support to break free from every cycle of poverty. Youth development and national development stand shoulder by shoulder with the same goal, and through these strategic partnerships, we can pool our strength, share best practices, and implement innovative approaches that address the multifaceted challenges faced by rural youth. Let us join hands and collectively work towards a future where poverty ends. By investing in education, skill development, entrepreneurship, and social empowerment, we can unlock the full potential of young people and pave the way for a brighter and more inclusive future. Poverty affects hundreds of millions of people, and its eradication is one of the overarching objectives of sustainable development. By promoting sustainable employment and economic growth and actively advancing the use of technology, we can move towards a more equitable, more inclusive, and more sustainable future. And together, under the support of the nation, we have the power to create a lasting change, leaving behind legacy of hope, opportunities, and also prosperity for generations to come. And poverty in all its forms everywhere. Let's go.
Welcome back. This is the Youth Multilingual Talk Show, Hey the World. Thank you so much, Insan, for a very, very inspiring sharing and also inspiring me and the rest of the world about your project and how youth can make a difference as well in your hometown and around the world, seizing the opportunity of e-commerce and providing connection to youth from Purplingo to the rest of the world. Today, we have a lot of young, wonderful individuals with us today to share about their views on the topic of no poverty. So why don't we start with another Asian country all the way to my far left? Maha, what do you think about the speech just now?
First of all, I would like to thank you for coming here and sharing your inspiring story with us. Truly commendable, the mission that you are and what you have achieved so far. I think in this digital age, having access to internet, having access to digital tools shouldn't be a privilege, but it should be a basic human right. Because we have seen firsthand in China how e-commerce and digital economy can be both an end and the mean for empowering people, for helping them connect, for helping them to tap into larger ecosystems, larger industries, and also create jobs, create opportunities. And that can be said about other parts of the world as well. But unfortunately, still there's a lot of areas where they don't have access to internet, where they don't have good infrastructure, and that creates a very big gap between urban areas and rural areas. And this gap can only be solved through youth using these resources in order to go back to their rural villages and to empower their local communities, local villages, to adapt and acquire these skills. And hopefully through this skill building programs, they're able to create value, they're able to create jobs, and they're able to bring opportunities for everybody and truly create a connected community for everyone. We as youth, I think we should be responsible.
Particularly, I think in the era of digital economy, you highlighted the importance of internet and connection as well, bringing a new path to prosperity for small town youth, as you mentioned, around the world. So I want to move to you, Anna. Can you tell us a little bit more about the situation in El Salvador?
Well, yes, of course. Just like Intan said, the problem is mostly focused on the rural areas. So, for example, a 2022 study by the Central American University of El Salvador highlights that poverty is strongly linked to low educational level. So, in El Salvador, among 25-year-olds who have not completed primary education poverty, that amounts to 37%. Among those who have not completed secondary education, it is 16%. And if they have any degree of university education, poverty drops to 5%. This study focused, as I said, on families in rural areas in El Salvador. So that's why I believe your program is so inspiring, because this gives young people the training and they provide a specific platform for them to further develop and create their skills and then be able to sustain themselves. So really, thank you so much for your efforts in this part of the world. I think all of us can learn from you and your things that you have done.
Absolutely. So you talk about internet, you talk about education. So we move from Asia to Central Americas, and now I want to move to Africa. So Ria, what is the situation like in Africa, in Nigeria?
Yes, the government has made a lot of effort in reducing poverty through programs such as the National Poverty Eradication Program. It has provided some sort of poverty alleviation schemes, such as providing training in vocations, and then also to sometimes give monies directly to people who are the least of the least in the society, so that they can have access to basic daily life needs, such as food, shelter, clothing. And beyond that, the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, which is very fundamental to Africa, is bringing a change whereby opportunities are being opened for young, vibrant youths who are willing to upscale their skills and venture into territories even beyond their own localities. Not just for Nigeria, but I think the whole of African youth, whereby they can engage in productive skill acquisition and then also be practically involved in employable ventures that would protect them against poverty and then also lack of food and basic amenities. So we have boundless opportunities using the AFTA.
Thank you so much for sharing, and also connecting the Sustainable Development Goals #1, right? No poverty, to the goal #2, which is as important, zero hunger as well. But as the largest economy in Africa, I think Nigeria is taking the leadership. Thank you so much. And very, very enlightening, very, very inspiring. I want to take the opportunity to share something that happened here in China as well. In February 2021, not too far ago, China held a national commemoration conference at the Great Hall of People in Beijing to mark the country's accomplishment in eradicating extreme poverty. This is something that all Chinese people are very, very proud of. As we have heard, how much poverty is very, very important in increasing our standard of living. And during those years, the final 98.99 million impoverished rural residents living under the current poverty line were lifted out of poverty. And that's 10 years ahead of the 2030 Agenda of Sustainable Development. All the 832 impoverished counties and 128,000 impoverished villages have been removed from the poverty list. Over the past decade, the Belt and Road Initiative has mobilized nearly $1 trillion in investment, formed more than 3,000 cooperation projects, and created 420,000 jobs, lifted nearly 40 million people out of poverty in the countries participating in Belt and Road countries. This is a success story for not just China, but also in the region too. China and the participating country have matched an aligned development strategy, shared development paths, therefore drawn a new blueprint of development, working hand in hand on the road to modernization. And at the midpoint of the 2030 Agenda of Sustainable Development in 2023, the SDG summits in September, world leaders recognized the need to reform the international financial architecture and committed to a bold plan to rescue the Sustainable Development Goals and accelerate efforts to eradicate poverty everywhere and in all forms. Jennifer, how long have you been in China? Have you seen what's happening in China in poverty eradication that we spoke about?
I have lived in China for about 6 years, and what I've witnessed over the past few years is China growing so much. I personally took a bike trip through China. I did 3 months by myself on a bicycle around rural China in Sichuan in Yunnan, and I saw for myself that the government had built housing developments for people, and so that they moved from old mud huts into these nice housing developments with air conditioning and heating and running water. And I saw so many people with new job opportunities, and even in the small villages, people still had cars. So I saw with my own eyes on my 3-month bike trip around China that China really has eradicated poverty across the whole country. And so I think that this is just something that is extremely incredible.
Very, very hopeful message. And as you mentioned, I think China did great work in eradicating absolute poverty. So next stage is about eradicating relative poverty, right? That's why rural area modernization is such an important next step. But the matter of fact is that nearly half of the world's population still grapple with poverty. For the well-being of all mankind, and for the sake of equity and justice in the world, the eradication of poverty is a mission that the people of the world are duly bound to undertake. Let's join forces and collaborate to transform these age-old issues that have bothered us for hundreds and hundreds of years. Let us build a prosperous world where poverty is no longer a reality. Together, we can create a joyful, poverty-free world. We promise, as global young people, we will take action to achieve sustainable development goals, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, and make significant contributions to poverty elimination. Thank you so much. This is Hey the World. Until next time.
I believe that empowered by high-tech, world youth can enable more remote areas far from the economic centers to get better development.
Я верю, что с помощью высоких технологий молодежь всего мира может обеспечить лучшее развитие для отдаленных районов, находящихся далеко от экономических центров.
We envision a future where every youth, regardless of their backgrounds or geographical location, has the support to break free from every cycle of poverty.
Nous envisageons un avenir où chaque jeune, indépendamment de son origine ou de sa localisation géographique, bénéficie du soutien nécessaire pour échapper au cycle de la pauvreté.
And together, under the support of the nation, we have the power to create a lasting change, leaving behind legacy of hope, opportunities, and also prosperity for generations to come.
Juntos, con el apoyo de la nación, tenemos el poder de crear un cambio duradero, dejando un legado de esperanza, oportunidades y prosperidad para las futuras generaciones.
By promoting sustainable employment and economic growth, and actively advancing the use of technology, we can move towards a more equitable, more inclusive, and more sustainable future.
ومن خلال تعزيز التوظيف والنمو الاقتصادي المستدام وتشجيع استخدام التكنولوجيا الرقمية بنشاط، يمكننا أن نمضي قدما نحو مستقبل أكثر إنصافا وشمولا واستدامة.